Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This will be part 2 on the 4 IDM and PCM coming from let's see, Florida. Braulio Hernandez. They send this setup, the computer in the PCM and in the IDM for the 4 F-250 Super Duty with a 7.3 liter power stroke engine because they have a crank no start. So actually I spoke with Braulio this morning and I tell him, I'm still have the IDM in the bench and the computer as well. I have been not having any issues with the computer, but I said, I was a little worried about one of the fault codes that he gave me as the P0605, which I think is a wrong capture of himself because it's handwritten. I don't have any fault codes or diagnostic report from him, just reading on the paper. I have a part 1 where I will do what I was doing the test, and that was yesterday night till like almost 9:30 p.m. But I'm saying, you know what, it's time to just stop, go and rest, and then work the next day fresh. And I've been working in the morning. It's already noon, trying to make this work, and finally got it to work. It was actually multiple components damage. It was actually corrosion inside the board, even though it didn't show much. Looking at the case, I'm going to put the link of the first part in the description of this one if you're interested on watch that one if you haven't. And also, if you're here on the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. That really helped my small business a lot. And that's how you find me. Every time you subscribe, YouTube promotes more and more the videos, and then you can find me better. I'm going to take you over to the information, but let me show you the case. Not sure. Yeah, probably better here. You're not going to hear me that well, but you can see the mark of corrosion. And if we see here, I didn't see this at first because I was looking at like, oh, it looks pretty clean, but then boom. Right here. We can see all the corrosion exactly. That corrosion is exactly what I found the main problems, and then that actually spread inside the board and I have to repair. I'm like, wow, that's what, working late sometimes is against yourself. This morning, fresh, relaxed, I was able to check everything properly and then found, a lot of corrosion and more problems. So I'm like, okay, let me correct all this, and now I have it working. All right, so let me take you over to the data that I have saved for him. And we can go and take a look at that. This is the connections, which most likely I'm going to put you in the same view that I have. Like I got a more landscape and less capture picture-in-picture and stuff like that in there. But let me take you over to the folder. So this is the folder I have saved, going good. And I've been doing tests on the injector drivers. If you want to see what the injector driver looks like, these are the injector drivers for the high side. I also mentioned something on the first video about the test you can do in the vehicle. This is just something quick I want to run with you. If you ever have a problem with a specific injector, this is not when like with Braulio, he had the P1293 and 1294, which is high side, low, both banks. Bank 1 is 1293 and 1294 is bank 2. And we reproduce that because it was a very minimum activation. This has to reach around 115 volts per high side. The low side, on the other hand, were firing. The ground side activation was working, but the high side was not there, which reproduces concern. All right, so this capture that I have here, if you have a specific injector that is giving you problems and you want to know if the problem is the driver on the computer or if the problem is inside the actual back cover, because for those that are not familiar with this system, the harness for the injectors is actually part of the valve cover, and it goes inside and connect to each injector. So you can do the bus test, which I'm going to do with you in this video as well, and that will give you a whole burst of all the 8 injectors. It's like it almost sounds like that. I'm trying to reproduce it as best as possible, and then after that it goes one injector at a time. So you will hear like and it goes into a sequence and timing very specific. So it's like that sequence. So if you go and you hear that longer space, one injector is not firing, one injector is not working. So is it the injector, or is it the harness, or is it the IDM, right? So in order to determine where the problem might be, a quick solution is very quickly done, is what I'm showing you in the screen. So in each of the valve covers on these 7.3 liters, you have this connector, which I'm going to zoom a little closer. So the connector is actually in the picture right here. So this is on the left side where that circle is the connector in the valve cover. And I, circle the, let's say, injector that you want to switch. Let's say you don't have a problem in the screen right now on the diagram. Also, we have this in here. You see that I have selected, like, we have injector 3, injector, glow plug, injector, because it's 4 injectors, right? So this side would be injectors 1, 3, 5, 7. And then also the glow plugs, because that goes inside also the valve cover inside the engine, right? So let's say you have a problem with injector number 3. It's not firing. And then you want to know if the problem is inside the valve cover or not, or in the IDM. So what we need to do is depin that connector. Is pretty easy to do, and move the injector wire outside, right, from injector 3 to injector 1, and injector 1 to injector 3. So you're just going to flip the wires. If you flip the wires, and now the fault code goes into injector number 1, because let's say, if I now move the wire from injector 3 to injector 1, and the wire from injector 1 to injector 3. So we just flip it, right? If I now do the sequence, but then you get a fault for injector number 1, injector number 1 was not giving you a fault code. Now immediately the problem is either in the harness inside the valve covers or in the injector itself. But if you move the 3, and again you get the same fault code number 3, the injector number 1, now that wire of injector 3 is connected to injector number 1, the injector number 1 wasn't giving a problem. So the injector and harness inside the valve cover, how is everything? Is good. You can now work yourself back from the valve cover connector to the IDM connector, because there is another test, there's another short harness, or let's say short harness in there that can also fail. But you can do the same test in there. But this is the way you need to do, like that. It's the quickest way to find out if you have a problem on the harness, in the valve covers, in injectors, or in the IDM. I hope that this is helpful for you. I'm going to keep this in the view so you can understand what I was doing in there. All right, so that's just quickly to show you that. All right, let's go over to Braulio's problem. So going into Braulio's, he's from Florida. We can see that he wrote a P0605. P0605 is RAM memory EEPROM failure. That is a big problem. I'm saying, okay, because he was asking me, like, why I was not able to perform the test on the injectors. I'm like, I'm not sure. Maybe it was shorted. You got a harness issue. All I can say, or all I can see, is what I have here, right? So it says then P1293, P1294, and P0470. Let me show you those fault codes. All right, I have now the full list of fault codes. So I'm going to look for each fault. So Control F when you're working on a PDF, right? You can do that. So we're going to start with the first one, P0605 that he put in there. And it's going to take us directly to that. The P0605 right here. Let me make this a little bigger so you can read it from the distance. Not sure what okay, perfect. Right here it says internal control module room error. That's memory. That is a big problem. Why? Because, well, if it's constant, also, if you disconnect the battery, it might give errors based because you disconnected the battery. The most common problem, the most common fault code that I have seen, and maybe he wrote that wrong, is the one above, P0603. And we can see, and we will see this fault code in here. I can show you, actually, I took a capture of that in here. So let me just show you, because I put, no P0605, just the P0605, 603. And we can see here, you see where it says, the one in the center, it says P0603 internal control module, keep alive memory error. Okay, keep alive memory error. Okay, why is that? Because we're killing the battery. I'm disconnecting the vehicle, or the modules from the vehicle when I am turning my power supply off, and it's like you remove the modules from the car. Yes, it's going to set up that fault, and that is completely normal. But let's take a look at the rest of the fault codes. So I'm disregarding that one because I cannot find that one in here. So only P0603. So the next one is P1293. I'm just going to show you what the description of these ones are. Okay, we have in here the P1293 with that blue mark. It says high side open, bank number 1. And then the P1294, which he also had, high side open, bank number 2. So I was telling you exactly the truth. I always like to show you that you can trust on the information I'm giving you. All right, then the next fault code, which I have not looked into this one, P0470, but again, I can take that as a grain of salt with this, right? P0470, it says exhaust back pressure sensor circuit malfunction. All right, so that is very not uncommon to have those, and that most probably is the DPFE sensor, which is a very common sensor on these vehicles. And he has not told me anything about that. His main concern is the no start, no crank, no start. And we can see that on the note in here, where it says crank, but that's not a start. I have crankshaft position sensor signal. The ICP pressure is cranking is over 1,000 psi. You need a little more, like over 500 psi on this diesel 7.3 for the engine to start. In the IPR while cranking on 75, that's perfect. It should have a start unless you have no injector signals. Obviously, if the high side is not working, well, then the engine part, the sensor part is good. All right, so let's go back to the test now that I have everything working properly. I'm going to take you here. This is just so Braulio and you guys can see, based on the first part, that this is all he set up. All right, so I'm going to put now the SUS and the picoscope. The upper image that you see right there, right? That is my oscilloscope, which the blue channel is connected to. Let me take those lines out. Too many. I was doing some tests. So okay. Let me also put them in order. So I'm going to put as they are connected into this the oscilloscope. The oscilloscope is almost like a multimeter, like a graphic multimeter, more than that, right? Because it's super fast. Picoscope is really good because their software shows a lot. You can see that I have measurements in the bottom where we'll be seeing what is exactly reading on channel A, the blue channel, in channel B, the red channel, and in channel C, the green channel. I only have 3 channels connected out of 4. This is a 4-channel oscilloscope. So with the ignition on, we can see voltages on channel A and B. And the difference in between those two is normal. It all depends on where the final test or the computer starts. That can change to 4.5, 4.9, in either one of those channels. This third channel, I have it connected over to the low side activation of one of the injectors. So we will see that I'm just reading the pulse width modulation. Right now it says 200 microseconds because it's nothing there. The A and B channels, the blue and red, are connected to the high side. We will read in there upwards of 115 volts DC. All right, so let's do the test. On the scanner right now, first, to make sure that we are connected to the computer, I'm going to go into codes menu, pending codes, or actually let me go over to memory codes. The memory codes are the ones in memory of the computer, and we can see the computer is being read by the scanner. That means we have good communication. I'm going to scroll down slowly so we can see that the P0605 is not here, just the P0603. You see, that's the same exactly capture. Why? Because this is what happens when you have nothing connected into, the computer. And yes, you have disabled or disconnected power. So that is completely normal. All that is, I can disregard all those fault codes. So just for that, to show you that we do have communication, then I'm going to functional tests. I enter engine bus test. Make sure, the oscilloscope is running, everything is connected. And now let's run the test. I'm going to let it run and then stop and come back. And that's the end. And I hear all the injectors. If you would have seen, you will see all the lights on the injector because I have all the 8 injectors ground side control connected to this simulator, and it has the LEDs in there that shows. But I know that those are working. I could hear it. Everything is good. So my concern right now is to see the activations. Okay, right now on this capture, we can see the H channel in 114.2 volts and the red channel into 112.2. And that is perfect. I also check this because this is when it's firing one injector at a time. And you can see the low pulse width now in 455 microseconds. The green side, it is showing activation or pulse width. Let me just select one so we can see this closer. Then you can see more in detail what is happening in here. So I can measure, I can put, cursors in here where I can measure, the high part on this waveform, on the green one. And then the low part, which is the lowest, that signal went down. And we are from 13.53 volts battery voltage to 0.66 millivolts. So that is completely pull it down to ground. That is a completely good activation. And we have the pulse width. If I move these other cursors, and this is the nice thing about picoscope, I'm just going to get it very close. And the measurements of that are going to be added onto that box that we have in the center of the screen. And there, it might be a little too small for you, but yeah, it's reading around 500 milliseconds. And just because I'm putting that with the naked eye and I'm not zooming that perfectly. But we can see that it's all normal. Everything is in there. Voltages are good. Again, I can measure the high side on this blue channel now because I can do measurements on each of those channels. And they are completely, each channel has its own horizontal cursors and only two verticals. But yeah, you can see in there that I have 112.8. Again, it's showing 114. That's again by the naked eye. Let's call that right. But everything is good. But if I go over to the first waveform, picoscope, by the way, saves per screen. So that's what it says. Waveform 16 of 16. We're in the last capture of that screen, so it's saved by screens. All right, so we can go back and now come to 15. Is nothing in there because of the timing. I got no trigger, by the way, in case you are familiar with what an oscilloscope does. I'm just going to go back into here. All right, so let me take out of the zoom because we might not be seeing the entire thing and it's already happening. I want to go into, okay, this is the first burst where it activates all the 8 injectors. We look at the green last measurement. The first ones are pretty much the same as before, but the green now is showing us 954.8 milliseconds. So double the ground side activation because it's sending for all injectors. So it's keeping it on for a longer time, and that is completely normal. I have seen this in all of them. So yeah, this is the test you can do on the vehicle 100%, and it will be giving you if it's any faults after when you finish this. P1668 is completely normal to have if it's no fault codes. If you receive that one, it tells communication error. This is an old software created, I don't know, in like 1995 or 1996 by Ford, and Snap-on added to it, and then they never change it. It's the same. If you use Ford IDS, it probably will be better because they do the update. Snap-on does not. So yeah, that's why we are here. This is probably the same software they have added since 1996 on specifically for these vehicles. But yeah, so everything is now fully operational. So Braulio, good news. Your FICM, I keep saying FICM, your IDM and your PCM are fully working. The PCM didn't need any repairs. I just focused, and so it will be just a test fee for the computer, which I performed the test for that one. And in the case of the IDM, it will be no test fee because it's included on the repair cost. That's what I normally do. So there is a test fee per module. And then if the modules require repair, then the test fee is included on the repair cost. Also, the shipping back to the customer does, unless it's outside the United States. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.